So tomorrow, Modern Warfare's newest edition, the brand new Warzone modes, are finally launching. After so much speculation, so much waiting, it's finally happening, and today we're able to share with you a ton of content. So to start everything off, amidst a full day of Warzone content and of course a packed week of content, I figured we start with 62 things that you must know about Warzone before you jump into it tomorrow. I'm incredibly excited to share the content we have on hand today and coming up, so make sure you stick it here on the channel. Let me know your thoughts, and of course, do be sure to hit the subscribe button if you have not done so already to get all the best Warzone content. That said, there's so much to talk about, so let's jump right into it. First things first, number one, it is free to play, meaning that it costs you nothing to enter, whether you have Modern Warfare or you don't. Players who own the full game of Modern Warfare will access the game through that previously classified 5th main menu tile, and players who are jumping in can find this as a standalone application to which the Warzone tile will be the only thing available. The other game modes that we see of campaign, multiplayer, and co-op will be locked out for those that play the free version. There is supposed to be in the future sometimes where limited time events will be going on, where if you do have the free variation, you may be able to access random multiplayer game modes as a sort of trial period and a taste of the full game. But Warzone as a whole is free to play. As well, Warzone is actually two parts. If you haven't seen it already, the trailer probably detailed this for you guys, but Warzone is Battle Royale plus a brand new game mode called Plunder. Today, we're mainly focusing on Battle Royale. Plunder will be a little bit of a discussion tomorrow. That's embargoed still until then. So firstly, talking about Battle Royale, first things first, it is 150 players at launch and is trios only. That's something that I know might not be everybody's favorite announcement, but that's what we got for the launch here of this. You can still play solo or duo up with a friend, but you're going to be queuing in the same collective pools with teams of upwards of 3 players. There currently is no private match support, and there currently is no real proper spectate mode. If you die, you can still technically spectate the enemies that killed you, but it showcases the option to leave the game and brings up a UI element over top of that, actually spectating. So you can kind of spectate, but it's not necessarily a proper spectating mode. You can still spectate your team, though, if you are eliminated and they're still in the game. Warzone will also share a universal progression system. Your progress between Warzone, MP, and Spec Ops will go to that shared rank. Your immediate weapon use, such as your weapon builds and camos, are all linked to that same progress as well, so things like Damascus should count and be immediately usable. Further challenge introductions such as Warzone camos, that's not something that's been discussed and therefore is unknown at the moment, so keep that in mind. There is a pregame lobby for every Battle Royale match you join up, and while waiting for these, it's essentially just a giant game of non-stat altering free-for-all. You'll be able to kill enemies and use different loadouts, and each time you respawn in this pregame lobby, you'll have a new loadout that you can play around with. But jumping into the actual gameplay discussion, firstly, Battle Royale sees you drop in with only a pistol. There are rumors that you could start a match with loadouts that you could actually craft before dropping in and use those. That's incorrect, but creating loadouts does have a place in the game, which we'll expand upon in just a little bit. Your main objective, naturally, is to be the last player or last squad standing, though the obstacles and players you face along the way may not be as simple as other BRs, and we'll discuss that as well throughout this video. While looting, crates are a common way to obtain loot. They'll drop tons of various items, and also you'll be able to hear them if you can't immediately see them. There's an audible hum to them. Loot is found within crates and sometimes around the world and picked up off players as well. It's all sorted by different levels of rarity. There's common, which is gray, uncommon, which is green, rare, which is blue, epic, which is purple, and legendary, which is orange, and then a custom option, which is a reddish pink, but that's only found with creator class items and subsequently only off of dead bodies, which we'll explain again the creator class here shortly. The map utilizes the world of Spec Ops, so a lot of these locations may be relatively familiar with you already. There are key locations such as Dam, Military Base, Quarry, Airport, TV Station, Storage Town, Supercenter, Stadium, Lumber, Boneyard, Train Station, Hospital, Downtown, Farmland, Promenade West, Promenade East, Hills, Park, Port, and Prison, and they're marked on the tactical map from above and also on the initial drops as well. When you jump in, you'll see the name of the location above that general area of the map, which is pretty cool. You can also utilize familiar locations. The ground war maps are in this. Quarry is Karst River Quarry, Boneyard is Zokov Boneyard, Downtown is Tovorsk District, Farmland is Kravnik Farmland, Port is Port of Verdansk, and those are not the only locations. There's plenty of smaller locations like police stations, gas stations, and things like that mixed in with classic locations intermixed intermittently. Examples being that TV Station is actually Broadcast and Overgrown is in the northeastern hills above Broadcast. Next, the map's actually huge. I drove for about 2 minutes or so, 2 times in 2 different pre-game lobbies, and probably only covered the bottom left and the upper right corners of the perimeter of the map. This is not really an accurate display though of the gameplay, however. The map is large, but it's still played relatively similarly to pacing-wise with Blackout and other BRs from my playtime. I'd also like to mention that those 2 minutes that you spent filling lobbies, that's not going to be an indication of the live gameplay environment either, or shouldn't be. We were waiting to connect with players from various studios to fill lobbies, so naturally, getting a lobby together between 300 or so participants will be much slower than when it's out and live to millions of players. Upon actually dropping into the map, there is a squad leader who can mark locations on the TAC map, but players must still jump on their own. There didn't appear to be any squad leader jump master feature that the squad leader would be able to pull everybody at the same time, but potentially that may be coming in the future. When in the C-130 waiting to jump, you'll be able to see in the upper right corner of your HUD a number of players that are still left in the cargo plane who have yet to drop. This could possibly help you figure out when or when not to jump if you want to avoid high traffic areas or early contested engagements, or oppositely, know that you'll have a firefight shortly after landing. When dropping, you now have the ability to free look and also cut your parachute. If you cut your parachute, you can reopen it once again, to my knowledge, an unlimited amount of times. This can be used to help extend your drops. Dropping in is mostly also just that, dropping. Unlike Blackout, there is no wingsuit that you can propel yourself further to extended reaches of the map, and though you're not fully limited to just a 90-degree drop straight down, horizontal reach is severely limited by comparison to the most recent Call of Duty Battle Royale experience. That is, again, unless you cut your chute, to which you'll gain some horizontal distance, but definitely not as much as in, say, Blackout. Once you start looting up and you start playing, verticality can be key, but it's also not unfair. High ground can help you tremendously in gunfights, but I didn't find too many engagements that I was like, there's no way I'm winning this. Buildings also are primarily sectioned off, so that's only the ground floors and the rooftops, so you won't have to breach and clear 10 different stories with 15 rooms each level. Each building also, interestingly enough, is unique, so you won't see a major cluster of copy and paste layouts among various buildings in game. To help you traverse the map, there are a handful of different vehicles available, including ATVs, SUVs, helicopters, cargo trucks, and TAC rovers, also meaning that thankfully there are no tanks in this. Health is a default 100 and armor can add upwards of another 150 HP to the body. Key part being the body. Headshots are incredibly important and crucial since there are no helmets or helmet modifiers. You also drop in with 2 armor plates naturally, so you start out above 100 HP to begin with, but those can deplete down to not having any armor. You can carry upwards of 5 armor plates on your person or in your inventory, however you'd prefer to look at it. Additional armor plates can be found to replenish your supply on dead bodies or in loot crates, sometimes also laying around randomly. Health is automatically regenerated, so there is no bandages, medkits, or trauma kit equivalents like we saw in Blackout and other Battle Royale titles. There is, however, a medical syringe that you can pick up as an equipment, which you can equip and it allows for 1 boost back fully up to your max HP. This is your stim though from MP, so it's not anything that's introduced for the first time here with Battle Royale. Weaponry is bare and simple unless you find a blueprint. Standard weapons are dropped as bare with no attachments unless you loot and gain a blueprint. This means that there will be no weapon attachment collection and different looting, so weapon tuning on the fly isn't really an option here with this. Weaponry also has a different balance set than that of MP. Some weapons won't be as good in Battle Royale as they are in MP. Small anecdotal evidence, the M4 was a hit marker machine for me a lot of the times. Snipers are a one-shot, but only to the head. When looting, ammo is automatically picked up and added to your inventory when walked over, which I think is really cool. Items like physical weapons, cash, contracts, and equipment will still require you to actually interact with them and hold to be able to pick them up, so bear that in mind. Create a class and loadout drops, though, are something absolutely important. We mentioned we'd come back to the importance of setting up custom classes, even if you don't drop in with them, but that's because there's a new feature called Loadout Drops. This will allow you to collect a predetermined class buildable in conjunction with your MP rank and is something that you set up before queuing up for a match. This will also let you have any 2 weapons, perks, lethals, and tacticals that you want. These are dropped intermittently, the actual loadout drops themselves, and each team can access 1 crate of the drops. The crate, though, can be used for your entire team. It's not just one person. The catch, though, is that they drop in groups of drops, so other teams will be coming for that general area so they can access their loadout drop as well. This creates a high-risk, high-reward situation. You can bait the drops, or you can risk it for the biscuit and get your optimal loadout without having to depend on RNG. Loadout drops are the only way that you can have perks in Battle Royale. The D-pad can be used as a default way to drop or split inventory items, those including money, armor plates, ammo, and rockets. You can ping different items you find with the D-pad as well, and you can ping them in-game or in your tac map with your gamepad. Pinged items can be seen in the HUD above the kill feed in the newer builds of the game. Cash is also something you really want to pay attention to. It's important, and you can gain it by killing enemies, looting crates, and completing contracts. Unspent cash is converted into XP at the end of the game. You can use cash at buy stations, and these are incredibly important. The game is no longer really just about dropping in, looting, and surviving. Buy stations offer an entire host of great abilities like killstreaks, respawns, ammo, armor, and more, and introduce a new dynamic to the game. Killstreaks at buy stations, there's nothing really insane here, but they can help you out situationally. What you can get is UAVs, precision airstrikes, cluster strikes, and shield turrets are all available. We'll have a more in-depth breakdown likely coming on buy stations today or tomorrow, so keep an eye out here on the channel so you don't miss anything, but kill streaks can very rarely be found throughout the map, not at buy stations. There is no nuke, which is probably something that may be a heartbreaker for some people, but in the build that we played, there was none readily available. Unless there's a certain kill criteria or a secret Easter egg, we were not made aware of a nuke in Warzone. A mentioned way that you can get cash is through contracts, and in contracts there are 3 types of them. A bounty contract, which sees you target a player to hunt them down, a recon contract, which sees you try and grab intel, and a scavenger contract, which will task you with searching for crates. Contracts, when completed, will reward a varying level of cash. Bounty contracts will alert both players of the hunt, both the hunter and the hunted, and this will allow the hunters to see the general but not exact location of the hunted. There can be upwards of 8 zones during an individual match of Battle Royale. You can tell what zone you're approaching or outrunning in the upper left of your HUD underneath your minimap. It'll showcase the zone number there. There are 2 counters for each zone. The gray countdown denotes the time until the gas starts to move in, and the red countdown denotes time until the gas is finished moving, closing off the next safe zone. The gas also hurts like hell. Don't get caught in this early or late game because it will punish you. With a lack of bandages as well, health regeneration doesn't occur in the zone and will tank your health incredibly fast. In the build that we played, you could just barely outrun the gas, and I'm talking from the clip you'll see on screen right now. I really wasn't that far out to begin with at full health, and I couldn't make it out. Gas masks are the only way to counter the gas from tanking your health. Gas masks can come in different rarities. There are buyable ones, which are common to my knowledge, and others that are found at random in crates or on enemies, and to my understanding, the higher rarity of gas mask, the longer you'll be able to stay in the gas without taking damage. When you enter into the gas mask automatically equips. In firefights, one downside of the mode, which I wouldn't be surprised if it gets changed, developers heard this out and were seemingly receptive to it. The kill credit is tallied to the player who cleans up the downed player, not who initially knocked and did the majority of damage. So in essence, you could steal your teammates' kills. If you are knocked, you can call for help on the D-pad. If you are knocked, you can also give up, which will send you to the gulag or allow you to spectate your teammates. If you are eliminated and you have already gone through the gulag or you lost, you can ping a buyback request for a squad mate, which will mark the closest buy station for them. The gulag lets you fight for a chance to respawn in a 1v1, and you get 1 chance at this per game. After that, your teammates must buy you back if you want to come back. So you can't die, go to the gulag, come back, die, and then go to the gulag again. It's just one and done. If you lose in the gulag, you'll spectate your team. They can buy you back at a buy station of their choosing, but other than that, you're out. When you're in the gulag, if there are no challenges and you're the only one there for 1 minute and 30 seconds, you'll be automatically redeployed and treated as though you won your respawn. In the gulag, if you are spectating, you can throw rocks at competitors in their 1v1 as a kind of form of sabotage. I personally was never hit by these, but having talked to a few people who were hit, they said that it was a substantial amount per rock. I want to say around 20 HP per hit. For the final 2 zones, the gulag actually closes and players are simply eliminated. Though, so long as there is a buy station in the safe area, players can be bought back through that. But be wary, because the smaller the circle, the more gas the player will have to drop in through, which does damage on the way down. Plus, you don't really have any loadout. And as we get to the end here, what do you get for winning a match? Well, being the last surviving out of a total of 147 other players, at minimum, you don't really get all that much. You get XP and battle pass progression. Developers are aware of the lack of reward and are looking to implement rewards and other items to encourage play and playing for the win, but as of launch, there's not really all that much. If you are on the winning team, you get the phrase "get some" that pops up, and then a special exfil sequence, and finally, the teams at Raven and Infinity Ward hope to sustain this mode as a standalone for more than 1 year. When asked about some of the plans, they said they had a nice pipeline of content coming, and also there were grins and smirks surrounding the mentioned live events. experience. Whether this is the scale of Fortnite, where a live event would actually be a cinematic experience, or instead something like Blackout's map alterations, we don't know entirely, but time will tell. Regardless though, they look to sustain this past the main year of Modern Warfare support, so come this October or November, when COD 2020 is released, there still be support for this. Also, that could possibly create an issue for the return of Blackout, but that's a bridge that we'll cross at a later point. But overall, that is 62 things that you absolutely need to know about Warzone. Hopefully this covers a lot of the bases, a lot of the basics, and we'll jump, of course, into so much content, not only just here today, tomorrow, and all throughout the week, but also on the channel a ton. I'm excited to jump in, and hopefully you guys are as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you guys like out of what you've heard, or maybe dislike out of what you heard today? Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and do be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're going to keep coming with a ton of content here for Warzone, so stick it here on the channel if you guys are interested in any of that. If you guys want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube, where I can live on both those. But said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I will see you guys later. Take care and get ready for Warzone. Peace.